Welcome back, everyone. I'm Lynn Doyle. This is It's Your Call. We're speaking with Tanya Williams, who at one time enjoyed what outsiders thought was an ideal life. She was married to an NBA star, you remember, Jayson Williams, who played for the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Nets, lived in a huge mansion in a ritzy part of New Jersey, and had a couple of beautiful daughters. But behind the scenes, she says it was not so ideal. She's sharing her story of what she says was sometimes an abusive, tragic, and surreal marriage. If you have a story of escaping a marriage or a domestic violence situation that you'd like to share, or if you're looking for resources, please reach out to us. You can email me directly at lynn@lynndoyle.net. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Or you can call. This is another thing that you can do that Tanya has made available to us. You can try Women's Inspirational Number, and we have the phone number there for you. It's 443-TRY-WIN-0. That's 443-879-9460. So tell me about Try Women's Inspirational Number. What is that?
I spend most of my time, Lynn, as an inspirational speaker. And that's my goal, to empower and inspire people, primarily women. But sometimes you just need to hear an encouraging word without attachment, and sometimes you don't want to feel like you're vested. So I created a phone number that has no profit-generating mechanism attached to it, where women can just call in. And every day I change the message just to empower them, inspire them, and say, no matter what you're going through, I'm praying for you, one, but you can do it. So every day it's just a word of inspiration for whomever desires to call the number.
Where did you find your strength to make the decision that it was time to end the marriage?
It had been a disconnected or disjointed marriage for a very long time, meaning that we didn't spend as much time together as a family. We have a home in South Carolina and one in New York, and we found that we were spending time apart. And I had an amazing upbringing with fantastic parents, but an amazing father. And I always believed that my children should have that experience or better. And when I realized they weren't benefiting from this relationship, in fact, they were looking at a dysfunctional relationship, but thinking it was normal. And I said, you know what, if I want to be a role model to my children, one of the most important things I must do is teach them what it means to be a woman, and a powerful woman. And part of that was saying, you know what, I'm not going to carry your bags. I don't want my children to be in a relationship with a man that's not there. I don't want them to think marriage coexists when people don't cohabitate as often as they should. So they were the reason. My love for them was the reason I finally said, you know what, I'm tired. Carry your own stuff.
Did you ever have any doubts or hesitation because he was facing yet another retrial and possibly, and now we know definitely, looking at jail time, that maybe people would say to you, oh, you know, it was great when life was going great and you had the big house and all the money and the NBA courtside tickets. Then when things got bad, you know, you bailed. Were you ever concerned about that?
No, because I stayed in that situation for 6.5 years. I stayed in the situation during years of appeals, and what people don't understand is I was an integral part of the whole deal, you know, the whole case. It's what I did. I was sleeping up reading briefs when he was sleeping. So no, I can't think people would think I would bail. The timing is important because I gave Jayson the option to, let's work this out, one, or let's do this quietly so no one has to know about it and it won't affect your upcoming trial. But at the end of the day, I had to love my children so much that I had to say, I don't want them to live like this. And they weren't feeling it, but I knew that it could have an impact on their life down the road.
Now, you made an interesting comment in our earlier segment when you said that a lot of the antics, a lot of Jayson's behavior denigrated and deteriorated after you made it clear that the marriage was over and that you wanted to move on without him. In your experience now dealing with other women who are escaping situations like this one, is that a common pattern among men, particularly, not to call him narcissistic, but men that are in the public eye or who have a big ego or who are narcissistic?
Yes, it is a pattern. In fact, that they are usually very successful, whether it's on a basketball court or in a courtroom or on a political stage. They're successful because of the image they portray. Once that image is now diminished in any way, they don't know what to do. They work really hard for people to look at them in a certain way. And now for Jayson, when it appeared to everyone like he's doing crazy things. He's not this gregarious, great guy we've always seen. That hurt him internally more than it probably did to the public. You know, it's been years. I have filed for divorce, But people come up to me every day and say, you know what, when he gets out, give him another chance. He's a great guy. And they've read everything, you know. So it's all about image and it's all about perception. And once they lose that or it falters at all, they can't handle it, and you see the cracks and you see the antics.
So when I was asking about other women that you counsel or that you give these motivational speeches to, are their experiences similar?
Yes,
they are seeing that?
Absolutely. I've heard women say that the husband will say, well, don't tell anyone. You know, don't tell anyone, or don't share our horrible marriage even with your best friend, because it's still about perception. The reason a lot of men don't want women to file for divorce is because what it'll look like to other people.
Right.
They
and
don't love
women
them.
find themselves isolated sometimes because they're trying to keep it to themselves or deal with it themselves. And isolation is probably the worst thing that can happen if you're in a tragic situation or you're looking to escape it.
Absolutely. One of the downsides, even though you feel liberated, even in filing the papers, you do feel liberated, but going through divorce is a very isolating experience because you have mutual friends who don't know what side to go on. So for women, I encourage them to find other like-minded women, because you really can't always depend on your friends. And so you can feel very alone during the process. So that's why it's important to join yourself with other women who are experiencing the same thing. Find a women's outreach group. Go to an organization where women are dealing with these same stresses as you are, and then there you will receive power from that.
You know, that's great advice, and I've done a lot of shows on divorce and relationships. When it really gets tricky is when there is domestic violence or when there is an environment of fear, because women don't feel safe in reaching out. Maybe they've been isolated from their friends and family. Maybe they're afraid to go to a shelter and feel like they would lose their children, or they wouldn't have anything except the clothes on their back. So how do we get the message to them that fear is real and genuine, but that they have to overcome it in order to move forward?
Well, in part of my speak, in one of my presentations, it's called a VIP. You're a victim in peril, but by the time you leave, you're a VIP, a victim in power. And through the speech and presentation I give, I speak to women about having strategy. It's about strategy. You're not going to leave my presentation and go home, but now you're going to start thinking about, if I have to leave, maybe I should put money to the side. Who are the list of people I can call if I have to leave? So when you're in a bad situation, you need to start now strategizing for your exit. You know, maybe things will turn around, but the man usually never changes. But it's about strategy, and that's the key word for my presentation.
Well, see, the key word that came out of that sentence for me was money. Put a little money aside.
Absolutely.
And one thing that men in a domestic violence situation do many times is manipulate and control all of the family's finances. So that really makes it difficult for women to get out if they literally have not a penny to their name.
But part of the strategy then is looking for resources for women exactly like you. There are numerous shelters for women, and you're going to go there and you have absolutely nothing, but you're not the only woman there. So if that is your life and that's what you're going through, it's part of your strategy. Know that your strategy is not putting away money, it's finding where I can go should that need to be the case.
Okay, on that note, I do have to take a quick break. Tanya says that she left a situation, a marriage, because she wanted to be a good role model for her daughters. If you're in a similar situation where you know you need to get out of it, think about those children and what kind of role model you're being for them. We're going to have some suggestions for you on how you can get some help later on. We'll have some phone numbers for you, and we have more of Tanya's story when we return. Please stay with us.